Let's talk about something powerful that sits right at the intersection of mindset and science: the law of assumption. The idea is simple. What you consistently assume to be true about yourself eventually becomes your reality. But here's the part people rarely talk about. This isn't just some abstract mindset concept. There's real neuroscience behind it. Your brain is constantly building and reinforcing patterns about who you believe you are. These patterns live in your neural pathways, the connections between brain cells that form through repetition. Every time you think something like, I'm bad at business, I'm not confident, I'm terrible with money, your brain strengthens that pathway. Not because it's true, but because the brain's main job isn't to make you successful. Your brain's main job is to keep you safe. And safety for the brain means familiarity, even if that familiarity isn't helping you. So if you've spent years believing something about yourself, your brain builds a strong neurological pattern around it, and that pattern becomes your identity. Your brain then filters the world through that identity. It starts noticing evidence that confirms it. If you believe you're bad with money, you'll notice every mistake you make. If you believe you're not capable, you'll notice every failure. This is partly controlled by a system in the brain called the reticular activating system, or RAS. The RAS acts like a filter for your attention. It decides what information matters and what gets ignored. And what does it prioritize? Things that match what you already believe. So if your identity says, I'm someone who struggles, your brain literally searches for proof of that. But here's where the law of assumption becomes powerful. When you begin to assume a new identity, you're actually starting the process of building new neural pathways. You're telling your brain, hey, this is who we are now. But there's a challenge. Your brain doesn't immediately accept change because change can feel unsafe. Remember, the brain loves familiarity, even if the familiar thing is limiting. So when someone tries to shift their identity, maybe they start saying, I'm someone who runs a successful online business, or I'm confident, or I'm someone who makes money easily. Their brain might push back. You might feel resistance, doubt, imposter syndrome. And this is where a lot of people quit. They assume the mindset isn't working. But what's actually happening is neurological. Your brain is simply saying, this is unfamiliar, and unfamiliar might be dangerous. So it tries to pull you back to your old identity. This is why feeling safe is critical when shifting identities. If your nervous system feels threatened by change, it will sabotage progress. But if your brain feels safe while adopting a new identity, it becomes much easier for new neural pathways to form. So how do you create safety while shifting identities? First, you start with believable steps. Instead of jumping from, I'm terrible at business, to, I'm a millionaire entrepreneur. Your brain may reject that, but it might accept, I'm someone who is learning how to build a business. That feels safer. It's a bridge. Second, repetition matters. Neural pathways strengthen through consistent thoughts and actions. Every time you think and act in alignment with a new identity, the brain strengthens that pathway. Over time, the new identity becomes familiar. And once something becomes familiar, the brain labels it safe. And once the brain sees something as safe, it stops resisting it. Third, your actions reinforce your assumptions. This is why small actions matter so much. When someone posts their first piece of content, creates their first digital product, or learns a new skill, their brain collects evidence that supports the new identity. The law of assumption isn't about pretending, it's about installing a new self-concept and then reinforcing it through experience. Over time, the brain rewires itself. This process is called neuroplasticity. Your brain is literally capable of changing its structure based on your repeated thoughts and behaviors, which means the person you believe you are today is not permanent. Your identity is not fixed. It's flexible. It's shaped by the assumptions you repeat, the thoughts you entertain, and the actions you take. So if you want to change your life, start by gently shifting what you assume about yourself. Not in a way that feels forced or overwhelming, but in a way that feels possible and safe. Start assuming, I'm someone who learns quickly. I'm someone who creates opportunities. I'm someone who figures things out. Then reinforce that identity through small daily actions, because when your assumptions change, Your attention changes, your behavior changes, your confidence changes, and over time, your results change too. The law of assumption isn't just mindset, it's neuroscience, it's identity, and it's the process of teaching your brain that a new version of you is safe to become. Do me a favor and like this video and subscribe for more. See you soon.